You want a random topic and not one of my special options scrolling across the bottom? It's bullshit. I spent all day fucking searching out the best news articles for you and hanging out with your mom. News you missed. All right. I've got a list full of links here. I spend all day, like, not all day. I spend a lot of time scrolling around and catching headlines, and I open a lot of tabs and then just put them in my browser to come back to later and never come back to them. So this could be a good time to get through them. Run etiquette party and serve nothing but beans and sparkling water. All right, guys. Which news article should we start on? Do you want to talk about armed citizen sets up rifle on bipod and kills attempted mass shooting suspect, or global minimum tax rate of 15% proposed? Why did you say damn TI? TI is the most noble function. Good idea. Let's read. Armed citizen sets up rifle on bipod, shoots and kills. Yeah. It's more interesting and less complicated than economics is less complicated and more interesting. Maybe it's not more interesting to everybody, but it is less complicated than it gets portrayed as. And it's super fucking important. If economics and psychology, if people understood a little bit of economics and a little bit of psychology, they'd understand the world so much better. But you don't learn any of them in school at all unless you seek it out, which is not by accident, of course. Of course, it's a conspiracy. Um, we can. Well, I think that all politicians are just actors, and and yeah, they're going to keep the Trump drama alive as long as they can get distraction value out of it. We can do economics. Let's talk about economics. You got to tee me up with a question though, or a topic or something. I get a lot of economic questions. People seem to really like that topic with me, which is great. I'm happy to help people understand it because, I mean, not only do you not learn right information, it seems like anymore, they're teaching people wrong as fuck information. Oh, you know what? I think I've got an economic news article here. Um, all right. Which of these headlines sounds best? Well, I'll just throw them out there. If you like them, choose one. If not, then skip it. Um, the Pied Pipers of cryptocurrency are leading investors to their doom. Are you ready for the everything shortage? Biden signs executive order telling agencies to prepare for climate related shocks across the economy. Which about that one, I that one would be picked apart because they're not going to be climate related shocks across the country at all. The climate change bullshit is just a cover. I think that's it. The elementary student about economics. Well, it might be a little bit more complicated than that. I would probably want to, probably in middle school, you've got kids that are old enough to pay attention long enough to understand things, um, and to accept the fact that our current economic system is not capitalism, it's not communism, it's um, slavery, essentially. And I'd start and I'd explain the Federal Reserve System and how the Federal Reserve System is not a government agency, it's a privately owned company that lends money to people, that lends money to the country, and then the country has to pay it back with interest. So basically, in order for a country with a central bank like we have and like all other countries have, really, in order for these countries to operate, they have to um, depend entirely on these privately owned banks, and that the banks um, basically extort the shit out of the countries and the people, both through taxes, which everyone knows about, but then also through inflation. Uh, the inflation theft is not understood as well as it should be. And a lot of that's because politicians are lying about it. You know, all the inflation numbers are complete bullshit, and you can tell that by just by keeping track of how much it costs you to eat. I haven't spent less than $10 on at a fast food restaurant in like months. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I didn't used to spend over $10 every time I did. Um, but the basics of economics are supply and demand. Um, well, where do I want to enter this at? Because right now we're in interesting times, and I don't think that right now the basics of classic economics are particularly useful or relevant because, well, they are relevant. They are relevant, but they're not useful right now because it shows economic systems happening in a pure environment. So you've got free market capitalism, which is pure freedom, and you've got communism on the other side, which is pure control, slavery. So that's really the difference between. That's all you got to know about economic systems, and the difference between them is you got freedom and slavery. Just it happens to be in context of financial transactions, but everything's a sliding scale between them. Uh, ooh, Cliff notes are great. Yeah, but see, you don't even need all that to understand what's going on in the world and have a functioning understanding of economics. You need to understand supply, demand, equilibrium. You don't need elasticity. Um, GDP, inflation, unemployment. I think unemployment gets too much attention. And I think, and you just can't trust the numbers coming out, especially right now. But we're starting to run into supply chain issues, as I'm sure you all have read, and those are going to get worse, a lot worse, um, particularly with food. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to what's happening with food, but they're fucking up this year's crops really bad. They fucked up last year's crops, and with Bill Gates owning most of the farmland and Monsanto owning all of the seed supply, which is sterile, so you can't use last year's seeds. Not there is last year's crops left. I suggest everybody become a bucket farmer. Who knows? Maybe nothing will happen. That would be fantastic, but I'm not gonna. I just don't have a lot of faith in these fucks anymore. I don't listen to either of them, and I think that the Fed um, has good instincts. Well, I don't think it's a matter of instincts. I think that the job they're doing is different than the job that they say they're doing. And obviously, inflation isn't transitory. I don't even know what the fuck that is. That's not a phrase that's ever existed until now. What they're doing is they're pivoting pivoting the whole system away from national currency and into global digital, and they're trying to do it without. It's too early in the game for them to want people to really know the general population. So they're kind of denying it and acting like they're not really looking at central bank digital currencies yet, which of course they are. Um, but I believe that they're setting up a lot of these. I think that a lot of things going on in the world right now, a lot of problems are intentional, because when you're doing a transition like this, if you can make your population, if you can put your population in a bad position where they're desperate, then they want things from the government. So if we can make this big shift and have the whole world be homeless and hungry and demanding that we give them housing and universal basic income, then in the switch they can consolidate more power, more top down power, and do it in a way that has the people demanding it. High horse mumbler. A K economy? What's a K economy? Yeah, but if you know which news to look at, here I'll pull up an article. Like Winston's mom, I'm sure that you've seen that what 150,000 acres of farmland in California they turned off the water to, because of some endangered species of salmon or some shit. So all that farmland's down. We had that big ass ice storm that reached down into Texas that fucked up a lot of crops. What else? I mean, just globally. God, globally, it's the food supply has been hit hard. There's been locusts all over Africa and South America. There's been uh, China had the biggest flooding ever in recorded history last fall, I think. Here, I'm going to share this screen. So this is um, this is the only place, the only article about this event on the news. This got no media coverage. But a few days ago, farmers rallied. Oh my God. Shut the fuck up. Alma. Um, Farmers rallied at Klamath Falls one day after the Bureau of Reclamation announces a canal shut down. Wednesday, the Bureau of Reclamation has shut off the A Canal, the principal irrigation canal for the Klamath project. It's the first time it's converted no water, meaning thousands of farmers are without water for the irrigation season. Thursday, several dozen took to the streets of Klamath Falls to peacefully protest. Around 50 gathered Thursday in front of the Klamath Irrigation District office. They're asking for more water to be released from the upper Klamath Lake. The group Thursday made up of farmers, ranchers, and members of the Klamath Water Users Association and the Klamath Irrigation District Board. The canal has been delivering water since 1907, and this is the first year in history that it will convey no water for irrigation, said Paul Simmons, KWUA Executive Director. The Bureau of Reclamation released a letter Wednesday announcing the decision. It says the water supply from Upper Klamath Lake is insufficient to operate the A Canal during the 2021 irrigation season. There are about 150,000 acres that can make use of water from A Canal. They won't get a drop from it this year, said Simmons. On Thursday at the Irrigation District Board Directors meeting, the group met with representatives of the Bureau of Reclamation. Jared Botcher, acting area manager of the Bureau of Reclamation, said there isn't much that can be done. I want to recognize the announcement Wednesday and certainly want to emphasize and acknowledge the depth of the crisis for not only kids, but the entirety of the Klamath project. Reclamation anticipates only approximately 3,000 acre feet of water will be available. That is less than half the water needed to charge the A Canal. The heart of the matter is we simply don't have the supply necessary to charge the canal this year. We understand the depth and magnitude of what this means for the Klamath project, said Botcher. The association says it's catastrophic for farmers. Many are taking steps now. Only so much can be done. A lot of them are going to go bankrupt. We are told the Bureau of Reclamation began installing the bulkheads on the A Canal Thursday morning. That step makes it physically impossible to take any water from Upper Klamath Lake into the A Canal. Which makes me wonder, if they can't fill the canal, why the fuck are the bulkheads necessary? But see, so this is the shit that is going on that people should know about, but nobody knows about. It's not getting covered. I just, not to reduce everything to a conspiracy theory, but how the fuck is that an accident? Like, I just can't. I can't accept that there's that much incompetence in the world that we've got one news article about this. at all. You know, it's a huge deal. Yeah, I would not want to be at Hawaii right now. Start growing some pineapples. Throw your onion and potato scraps in some dirt or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there. But the whole world's gonna be in shit. Um, I don't think so. Not immediately. I think that they're gonna keep rates low and keep printing money and just try to get try to just push the dollar as far as they can before it pops. I don't know who that person is. Nostradamus predicted that California would tilt over and fall off the edge. That's one I'm still cautious about. I think they have 12 years left. Like metaphorically, right? He only sort of spoke in riddles, if I remember. I know that there's a Tool album from the band Tool, and um, it had like a holograph cover or something, but on the back, if you it was the United States, and if you tilted the hologram another way, it had like California covered in water and shit. And I'm pretty sure that like 40 years ago, according to the climate hoaxsters, California and most of the coasts in the world were supposed to be well underwater by now. Carbon emissions. Gen Z is what is, I don't know when generations start and stop. I need to look that up. Gen Z. What am I? Am I a millennial? I'm 86. Mid to late 90s is starting growth years. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty NF-ish. What's going on, man? All right. All right. Yeah, family farms have been on the way out for a minute. I mean, combines cost $300,000. When I worked as a banker, it was in a farming community, and I did primarily commercial and agricultural lending. So I got really familiar with the finances of a farm, and you can't get into that industry. There's nobody that's going to become a farmer and make money off it. It's just too fucking expensive. The land costs too much. The equipment costs too much. Um, Crop prices are too volatile. Yeah, there's been huge pressure on that shit. Yeah, I offered those options at the bottom, and everybody chose other options. You're about Flint, Michigan. Yes. Um, I don't know the details of it, um, but tax benefits. What do you think trickle down economics is? Because I think that people, when I think of trickle down economics, what I think of is if you got more money up here, everybody's gonna have more money. Like, and I do believe that there's, I mean, prosperity begets prosperity a lot of times. Normally, in a free market economy, it would, um, but in a corrupt, crony capitalist society, it just gets exploited. The headline was "Farmers Rally." Here, I'll put the link in the chat. Farmers rally at Klamath Falls one day after Bureau of Reclamation announces a canal shutdown. I heard a couple of hipsters I talked to earlier gawking at how Ohio's vaccination rate rocketed after they started giving free lottery tickets to the vaccinated. There, oh, and there's a place in DC. They had joints for jabs. Yep. I wish I'd known about that before the last video I made because that would have been a good addition. But DC, there is a joints for jabs program, so you can get a joint. It's my head just fucking explodes. Yeah, I remember reading some Nostradamus back in the day and feeling a little bit underwhelmed. Then they started bitching about how every state should do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I've kind of changed my position on how to deal with people like that because I spent 34 years going, well, these people just don't understand economics at all. If they understood that money has to come from somewhere, value has to come from somewhere, then they wouldn't want the government, which is always corrupt, to be in charge of redistributing people's money around to each other, which is just the game, right? Like, oh, I need to monitor you guys, and I'll be the middleman, and then you stuff your pockets out of the people's money. That's the racket, but they don't want to get it. They just want free shit, and like, how fucking entitled and useless can people be? Absolutely not. I will go live in the fucking woods first. because you know that like people are acting like just do it and it'll be over, right? Like it's not the end, it's the beginning. They're going to have booster after booster after booster, and once you open that door, you're never closing it. So I'm not ever opening that door. I'm just not really down with uh, cooperating with any of the new control structures that are popping up around the world. But I'm an Enneagram 8, so I wouldn't want to be controlled, would I? I agree. They're too ambiguous. And the baby boomers are like, what? There's like a fucking 30-year window for you to be a baby boomer or something. Yep. And testosterone, right? It was a testosterone was, but sperm counts. Either testosterone or sperm was like what, like 85% higher than it is now. They're poisoning us in the water. In the water. Fair enough. Yeah, it's kind of stunning um, to see how trendy and socially acceptable it is to not only be a conformist but to be straight up snitch. Like they've made snitching cool. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you can talk people into being such a group of shitbags that they applaud each other for being snitches. I don't know if I have context for that. They don't rebel. They ate Tide Pods once, rebelling against safety labels. And I mean, the fact that they're using these marketing campaigns, that they're bribing people with junk food or tickets or joints, isn't that suspicious? Like that in and of itself, if you knew nothing else about anything else, the fact that I mean, a free and it's small, a free small French fries is what you'll get in exchange for something you should put a lot more thought into, way more thought. If you're gonna go undergo an experimental operation, which is what it is, why the fuck would a small fries even matter? It's so imbalanced in the risk and the reward that just the offer in and of itself would make me suspicious because that feels like a disingenuous offer or a manipulative offer. Horse mumbler, Wentz's mom getting it on. Gonna beat the pussy up. I think that's true. I know that host Eric and Rachel will be in Indianapolis. I did not. Oh, you know what? I think I saw him mention something about. I saw like a post or a video headline or something, and I forgot about it. Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know how far Indianapolis is from here, and I don't know that I'll be flying because, well, you know what? I went to Florida and back, and I made it. I had to wear my mask more of the time than. Well, it's the only place. It's the only place besides court that I wear a mask. But they really don't fuck around on airplanes. And it helped that on the flight back here from Florida, I had the coolest fucking flight attendant, and he was hooking me up with the drink, with the pops and the peanuts and stuff. Yeah, it's doesn't make any sense, does it? Completely irrational. 7.5 hours to Indianapolis. Trickle down. If you don't strip the wealthy and squander their resources, they'll have those resources squandered destiny. Right. Which is true-ish. It's true-ish. In reality, I think that we're seeing that um, human nature is people want to make progress. There's been actually a shit ton of studies done that show that happiness, the best mental state of being or whatever, the best way to be happy is to feel like you're making progress on something. So even more than getting what you want. So all these Bezoses and Gateses, like enough is never enough. That's what I'm saying. Enough is never enough, and I think that that's just sort of human nature. So the reality of the situation is they're not actually buying the goods and services they want to sell us. They're still conquering and expanding. Which at this point is just getting draconian. Yeah, I don't. I used to have a lot of like liberal friends, and I don't know what happened. I guess I scared them all off. It's funny because if you want to be a rebel now, um, you need to have like old school values, like my grandparents' values, which is good. I mean, that's way better than like this shit that the media is so fucking toxic. I like culture. Little Nas X. I can't believe that you got Little Nas X. What did he do in that music video? He like turned into a tranny stripper chick and started stripping for Satan or something. It's just unbelievable, unreal. Like there's just a level of immorality that I don't know. I'm pretty insensitive, so for me to go, what the holy fuck is this? It takes quite a bit Congratulations to Lil Nas X. Yeah, I mean, there's no way that Biden got the most votes ever of any president in history. It's such bullshit. Like everybody knows that it's bullshit too. Even people are like, no, he won fair and square. Everybody knows it's bullshit, and that many people did not show up to vote for a child sniffing old man with Alzheimer's or I think he's got Parkinson's. Hate speech should be a human right because hate speech shouldn't have its own label, and it should be covered. Everything's covered under freedom of speech. You either believe in freedom of speech or you don't. If you don't like speech that pisses you off, you don't believe in freedom of speech. It's that simple. God damn, I'm getting behind. I need to speed the fuck up. Yeah, and it's super sketchy. I mean, if you start looking at the history of it, it's super sketchy. Moderna has never made this. This is the first, like, the first thing Moderna's ever brought to market. It's never sold a product before. It's tried 7 times, but they none of them got to market because they couldn't pass the animal trials. They kept fucking up animals. Luckily, they didn't have to do the animal trials this time. Another interesting thing is, just like with Monsanto, the Monsanto cases, something is, you can put a patent on something if it's genetically engineered, but not if it's naturally occurring. So, how does that apply to people? You know, that's a little bit far fetched of a thing for maybe even me. Even I'm kind of having trouble believing that one. That you could potentially own the people who would with this mRNA stuff in their genes. That's a little far fetched even for me, but nevertheless, it's an interesting angle to look at it from. Absolutely. Absolutely. What was it before? What was what before? Hate speech? Hate speech shouldn't be a thing. It should just be an asshole who's saying assholeish things because they have free speech. Yeah, really. That's interesting. That's good. I mean, that is something to worry about. Cultural identity is certainly under attack. Cultural identity, um, economic autonomy, and masculinity are the three things, as far as I see it, that are under the hardest attack. Well, they're banning people largely who are not extremists. Um, if they were extremists, I mean, extremists are useful as shit. They want more extremists. They want an excuse. What's not useful is rational discourse and people who are grounded, well grounded. Yep, absolutely right. I actually saved it in my phone. I found a thread on Twitter um, where people were posting their vaccine tattoos. There's only 3 on there so far. I'm hoping to get more. Yeah, people were getting their tattoo or their vaccine card tattooed on them, or like a commemorative tattoo that's got the date and the whatever the product number of whichever vaccine they got. It's just so silly. Um, oh, he was. I've tried to get him to come on my channel several times. Um, because he'll send me a message every now and then. We've talked on Facebook or through text or on the phone call once, but he wants to kind of like argue with me and try to convince me that I misunderstood him. And I say, well, okay. I mean, I'm open to the reality that that possibility exists, though I don't think it's the case. But I'd be happy to hear what you have to say. But let's do it publicly. Mhm. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. He's not even gonna respond to Eric. He does not. I would love to. I'd box him in a heartbeat. All right. So, for what it's worth, I'm going on the record right now. Anytime he wants to do the boxing thing, I'm absolutely down. But I mean, he's not going to do it, so it's not even worth the challenge. Um, no, I don't. I'm on BitChute. They don't have streaming yet, though. I guess if you know another good streaming alternative, I'd be happy to hear it. I've downloaded Twitch. I have Twitch on my phone. I got it a couple days ago because somebody was talking about hot tub chicks is now a thing. But when I don't know, Twitch just didn't interest me. It was like stupid people talking about stupid shit while doing stupid things. I just didn't like it, so I didn't stay there long. But maybe there's more there than I know about. Um, Science and the experts is the business people. That just means the establishment anymore. The science. Nobody's following the science. Nobody's been following the science ever at all as far as the Rona goes. Not one single step of the way have they followed the science. They've just built up hype. Um, Experts. Healthcare is the biggest industry at least in America. I don't know if it's the world, but in America, it's the biggest business, and it's political. So you got all the worst, areas of corruption involved in the healthcare industry. These experts are absolutely shills. People you see are shills. Dr. Fauci is a mascot. He's not even a virologist. He has no advanced medical degree. He's just a regular MD. Um, so yeah, that is absolutely true. And thank God people have lost their trust in science and the experts because both of them are bullshit. Nobody should trust those fucks. People need to think independently. You need to be able to think for yourself and to realize that sometimes what you're seeing and what you're seeing and what you're being told are that much out of sync. To go with what you're observing. How Biden could say that uh, his his payments that he's giving everybody, his free money, isn't hurting the job market. It's not creating a shortage of workers. And he says, "Well, we don't see any evidence of that." Well, of course, I don't give a fuck what you see. It's obviously right there. If you don't see it, then that's not because it's not there. I see it. Everybody can see it. It's because you're choosing not to see it. So yeah, I mean, it's just like Winston's mom. I don't know what you're saying. What you're bemoaning here, I see as a fantastic thing. The best thing that people can do is to stop trusting the self-proclaimed experts and what they call science, but isn't. Why would you? The thing about science, real science, you don't trust it, right? You verify it. That's what science is. You observe and you verify. There's nothing. It's anti-science to have faith in what some dude on TV tells you. And let's be clear. People who say they trust the science and the experts don't really trust the science or the experts. They just trust what's on TV. Rant over. Florida was great. How is that even uncomfortable? That's good though. I mean, I'm glad that you're not having to hang out with that negative ass, pussy ass energy. I try to offend people as quickly as possible so that I don't invest any time in getting to know them if they're just gonna like be such a bitch. I'm in Kansas City. That's a good one. Yep. Lost my spot in the comments again. I need to catch up anyways. Christopher Caesar. Uh, I will argue this point, and if you would like to come on and stand up for that claim, I have just dropped a link in the chats because I promise you that for every reason you can list to give me that it's a good decision for people to get it, I promise you I can tell you why it's not. Sorry, I don't do OnlyFans on Friday nights. My OnlyFans will start immediately Saturday morning, so probably after this. Oh my, I'm late for OnlyFans. It is the people telling everyone, which is exactly why you need to stop. People should stop listening to the people telling people things. The news, media, like I try to go to original source. I try to use original sources as much as possible, um, because you can't take anybody's word for it. Christopher Caesar, come on in. I'm waiting for you. Mm-hmm. He's not a virologist. Do you know what a virologist is? Did you know that Fauci was not a virologist? Because they keep saying he's a virologist. He's a mascot and a politician. This is true. Yeah, I do know his history. Um, he is a front man, mascot. You know what, Caesar? You're in timeout. You can come in and on the stream, but I'm tired of your noise in the comments. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking here. Oh, um, is that in context of the inflation thing or the shortage of labor? I mean, I think that, I don't know. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd point it out, and then if people don't see it, I kind of assume that they're being disingenuous, and I leave it alone. Well, nobody's verifying shit. All you need is some basic math skills to and a short memory to verify that Fauci has not been right about anything, and the math doesn't justify the actions. There is conflicting data. That is true. I didn't know you were here. I don't have an OnlyFans. There was a quick moment where I thought about it, but then I got a job. That was right after I got out of jail. I needed some money. Winston's mom, thank you for having my back. You're my dog. Does Pornhub have? I bet Pornhub does have streaming, probably like live shows or something you pay for. I don't actually have any porn anymore. I used to, and I kept it on an external hard drive in my safe because I figured what's safer than an isolated hard drive locked in a safe. But then when I got raided, the sheriffs took it and they sent it to the KBI lab, and I never got it back. But somewhere out there, there's there's homemade dick vids, and I don't know. They must have liked what they saw because they rated me 2 more times in the next month. For why people do and react how they do, react to how they react to the shot, or just how they react in general. Well, I mean, yeah, it would be part of the equation. If you're either way, they both are. I guess I just assume that some things are so self-evident. If somebody doesn't see them, my brain just goes, okay, bad faith, and then I'm done with that shit. Um, well, I don't see it as shutting down. I see it as not wasting time or energy. People will only believe what they want to believe and accept what they want to accept. Um, what was it? One of the golden rules of being a con man is that it takes two people to pull off the con. It takes the con man and it takes the willing participant. You got to appeal to they have to want to believe what you're selling, right? And it works the other way too. If somebody doesn't want to believe what you're telling them, they're not going to. Okay, touche. I guess that he has done a little bit of that. He did say we don't need masks, and now it looks like we didn't the whole time. So he was right about that. I guess that I just assumed that he canceled himself out, but I have not heard about black fungus. They just straight seized it, never gave it back. You can raid my ass anytime. Um, I don't. It feels contrived, doesn't it? I'm with you there. It does feel contrived. Everything feels contrived, from the Rona to lockdowns to the Suez Canal. You know, ship that drew a penis in the water before wedging itself sideways. To um, uh, fucking what's his name? George Floyd. That feels contrived to me, and I've explained why in a different live stream. But I just think everything's contrived. The whole is Biden's whole presidency seems contrived to me. Like there's no way that this dude's running shit. I don't know. Yeah, the whole world's contrived right now. It is both of those things. Um, yeah, and the first time they raided me, I was in bed, I was asleep, and I woke up. I was floating out my front door in handcuffs, but I was wearing only boxers, so they carried me out the front door and parked me in the front yard, like right in front of the guy who's running the show, and he's demanding that I tell him the combination of my safes, and I'm not telling him that shit. But anyways, the boxers were all like the one pair of the kind of boxers that don't have the button on the dick hole, the fly. And you know what though? At that point in my life where everything was going to shit, you know, everybody can look at my dick. That's how I felt. So, and actually, when I bonded out, I had to. I walked home barefoot. They didn't have a cell phone either. They seized all that shit. Um, I left the jail. I walked to my house barefoot in swimming trunks that they gave me out of the jail, lost and found. But I didn't give a fuck. It was still a great day. Yeah, somebody should do that. I'm not doing it. Um, I think it's scripted. Um, do I believe that anybody at that level of politics is corrupt and blackmailable? Yes, I do. So there probably are. I have I have no doubt that there are all sorts of terrible blackmail videos out there on everybody. But this whole situation, the laptop that just got left at the computer shop, and then just happened to turn up later, and just happened to have all this stuff. I mean, I did see the videos, um, so I mean, I watched the video of who looked like Hunter Biden, and he was smoking crack and getting a foot job, you know. But the whole situation, I don't believe is real, or the narrative, the chain of events. I don't think that happened um, naturally. I think that that was contrived. I do believe that that was probably Hunter Biden in the video. Um, it certainly looked believable, but I'm also aware that those deep fakes are easy to do. Yeah. So, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I watched I watched like all 10 minutes of it or something. It was so goofy. I mean, yeah, but I've been talking to people long enough. You can tell when you're getting resistance and when you're getting curiosity. If someone said to me, for instance, um, here, this this shot that they're giving everybody is being produced by some really bad people with criminal records who have done all sorts of unethical things, and I got the proof right here, but nobody knows about it. That should that should make people curious. Like you might not believe it out of my mouth, but it should at least get enough of your interest for you to go, okay, let me look at this. So when people don't have that level of curiosity or interest, when they're not willing to do any amount of digging, they just deny it. They just reject things. Um, they're not willing. I mean, they just take it as bad faith, and most of the time it is. I got in a fight with some bitch on Twitter because, oh my god, it was the most absurdly cunty statement I've ever heard. But it was basically a pro-vax thing. Well, it was like an anti-vaxxer thing. Um, but she said something about her and her son, safe for her and her son. And my comment was, you know that your son has a greater risk at dying from the shot than he does from the Wu flu. Well, she would not deny this up and down. Thought it was absolutely absurd that I would think that vax is more dangerous than the Wu flu. And I kept giving her the links, giving her the stats. Here's VAERS. Here's the CDC's own by the CDC's own numbers, which is not a source that I trust, but it is the generally accepted. It's what people are calibrated to, right? Like, okay, fine, we can use the CDC numbers. It's the medium that we can agree on. Kids under 10 aren't susceptible to it, like at all, at all. I think the death rate was 0.002% or something, and even that, like, no kids die. Kids are immune to this shit. So, but she didn't look at it, you know, as a parent, and that was especially applying to me. As a parent, I expect other parents to give enough fucks to, do a little due diligence on things when it involves their kids and not just go with the cult line thinking. Speaking of cult, that one dude who I put in timeout never came in, Caesar. Oh yeah, mom's momming. Um, yeah, we should. I was actually. It's funny that you left that comment. I saw that, and I hadn't talked to her in quite a while, and then I texted her last night, and she responded this morning, and so we've been texting a little bit today. And right in the middle of it, you left that comment, and I sent her a screenshot of it, and I said, "Look at this shit! Isn't synchronicity weird?" Wait, with the patients, with people who have the vid, or with people who got the shot? That's so weird and disturbing. Ugh. Yeah, but some things You just can feel it. It's like your third eye knows that this shit is contrived, not organic. Yeah. Okay, yeah, fine. It was obvious. I don't remember where it is. It was getting dumped to some Chinese website, and I got the link on Telegram. If you have a Telegram app, you can find it. I don't doubt it. I heard Squirtle's quite the slut. It's real good advice right here. It's so apparent. It's massively apparent. Like seriously, just go look at the CDC website and get the numbers for mortality rate by demographic, and then look at that, and then go to VAERS. I don't know if they have. I don't think they have mortality rate for the shot, but you can just start scrolling and reading some of the things. You have to. The thing about this shit is, the thing about this shit, but I guess on that note, it's worth mentioning that the most useful information you kind of have to work to get. Nobody, Facebook isn't going to give you the best information on your news feed. People have to put a little bit of effort into getting information and knowledge. Not going to learn shit from school that is useful to you or even probably true. You're going to learn shit from the news that's useful to you or probably even true. Both of those things are going to give you what they want you to have. Now where'd I go? Yeah, I mean the secret to not getting COVID is to not give a fuck about it, not get tested. I have a friend whose mom just died of, allegedly of COVID, but her daughter was there the whole time through the whole thing. She went in with a urinary tract infection and felt fine, and they tested her and they said, "Oh, you have it, and you need to stay here in the hospital or you're gonna die." And then, "Oh, you need to get a ventilator or you're gonna die." And they vented her to death. Um, it was really gruesome, not good story. I'm not getting the details, but I was pretty shocked really at how, yeah, they killed her. And it does not, I mean, it seems like the people who work in the hospital are just pretty indifferent to that fact, not confused by it. Like she was laying on her stomach with a vent tube in, and her nose was full of dried blood. And she had bleeding out of her mouth, and it was just like left on the bed. And they weren't doing anything. They just shoved that tube down her throat and then let her waste out. That's exactly the setup I have. Get people to understand it. You don't. I'm not going to wait around for everybody to understand it. What you do is you stop abusing kids by forcing them to wear masks all day long at school while they're running around the track at gym class, which is what a lot of schools do, at least here. Look into it. That's why my daughter's not in school. She's getting homeschooled right now. I'll be goddamned if these fucking dickhead teachers are going to make her run around a track at gym class with a fucking mask on. It's absurd. Um, so yeah, you leave. I mean, if somebody can't understand the math, there's nothing for that person. It's just math. I don't know. Like I can only explain things to people. I can't understand it for them. Um, but what you don't do is wait around for the lowest common denominator to catch up to you before you stop fucking things up by abusing kids and ruining the economy um, and injecting people with Lord knows what and all the other things. It's not me. YouTube has really like stepped up their censorship of that shit. It's like the AI just kind of pops out all the links. I did see that. I know you, yeah, but Bill Gates TED Talk I see is much more, that's absolutely more incriminating than it is anything else. No part of me is like, wow, Bill Gates knows what he's talking about. He's so smart. Um, every part of me is like, see, see, this shit's premeditated. So we're consuming the same information. And I know all about the military exercises, consuming the same information. It's just that you trust people, and I understand that they're shitty and selfish. So you should grow up. like and I don't mean to be like rude. This isn't necessarily at you, even though it does apply to you, I'm sure some, but like just in general, how can people be so fucking childish and naive to think that the global powers care about them? Bill Gates and all these billionaires, they're doing this stuff for you. The government loves you. Everything we're doing is for you. You can trust us. We're just trying to help. Get the fuck out of here. Like anybody who believes that needs to get your head out of your ass and stop being such a child. Nobody gives a fuck about you. These people don't care. I'm gonna wrap this up soon. I'm getting kind of hangry. He's kind of sounding like a kettle there, isn't he? Yeah, right. Which was a created virus. Look at that. Not on its own, it doesn't. But if you keep digging, then you get enough pieces to where it's like, well, I can't prove it since I didn't see it. I didn't see anybody make it. But that'd be a whole lot of stupid and sketchy looking coincidences. I mean, at some point, you got to stop. At some point, you're not being intellectually honest to continue giving someone the benefit of the doubt. I see this a lot where people like, well, no, we don't know, and you can tell that people are feeling like they're having intellectual integrity and being reasonable and not jumping to conclusions. But what they really do is denying that there's a pattern where there's clearly a pattern. So at some point, you need to do the smart thing and make the assumption because that's that's the logical conclusion that you can draw with the data at hand. And you just have to recognize that you don't have all the data and you'll never have all the data. You'll never be omnipresent, but that doesn't mean you can't reach a likely conclusion. And yeah, um, every, yeah, people's bullshit. I'm not a fan of schools really right now. I think I'm going to speak at the next school board meeting here in Johnson County. I need to remember to sign up. I'll do that tomorrow. I meant to do it today. You're still thinking about that OnlyFans, aren't you? I'm sure somebody cares. Um, out of the goodness of their heart, but I don't think that they're anybody in power. No, like that's that exception doesn't change the rule. It doesn't do anything. You should still need to recognize that these people don't give a fuck about you or me or anybody else. Nobody on TV cares about you. Nobody in politics cares about you. No billionaires care about you. So, so yeah, you might as well assume that not a single human in any of these positions that are acting like they're doing things for altruistic reasons, just assume that they're all lying because they're all lying. Oh yeah, we are. Um, we are on the brink of full on authoritarianism. That's we absolutely are, and I mean, in my we've been pretty deep into it for a while. That was shockingly clear when I was dealing with the criminal justice system. The things that they do to people. You think you got if you think you got rights, like I used to, like on the inside, right? Because I'm not a douche and I try not to be unnecessarily cynical at times when people aren't wanting it, like at football games when they're singing the national anthem and stuff. But land of the free, yeah, free motherfuckers can't do anything free. Like you think you're free? Have one criminal accusation lodged against you. All your freedoms are fucking gone. The minute a cop gives you a formal charge, your rights are gone. And which means that they weren't really there to begin with. But you're not free if you can't decide what you put in your body or not, you're not free. It means that somebody else is saying that they have the first right to your body. You don't. What that is, that's slavery. If somebody can say they have the right to the first portion of your income, they can take that right off the top before you get any. You're not free. What that is, slavery. You're a slave. So I recognized long before this shit show started that we're not actually free. There's no place that you can go. You can't opt out of society. You can't go, you know what, I'm just gonna I don't want to participate in this shit. I'm just gonna go to my house and live out my days growing potatoes in my buckets. You can't do that because you still have to pay your taxes. You still have to do this, you still have to do that. Um so yeah, I recognized that a while ago. I'm glad that the rest of y'all are waking up. And but the slavery is not in chains. That's bondage. Everybody's got this real clear picture of what slavery is, and it's a black guy in chains on a plantation working for a white guy, or it's Jews in Egypt. But what a slave is somebody who doesn't own the product of his own labor. What those images are of people in bondage. We don't own our own labor, not the bulk of it. Even last I checked, every single tax bracket of Americans paid over half of their income in taxes once they were all added up. So this is just a new form of slave. This is just a new face of slavery where people think that they're free. Enjoy the red pill. Yeah, I read Kiersey. It's been a while. It's been like 5 years or something. Um, Not if it's at appropriate times. Um, it depends on the conversation and the context. I think that there are conversations and contexts where um, I actually kind of like it. But if you know, if I'm asking you for directions and you give me an allegory, I'm going to crawl out of my fucking skin. The way the system is set up, I don't believe, and I don't. This is just my belief. I don't have any. I don't think that you can get past a certain level of politics without being compromised. Um, I think that at some level, if you get a local seat, then you want to move up to state level, and then national. At some point in your political career, you're going to have a decision to make. That is, if you want to progress your career, then we need something to blackmail you with. You're going to play by these rules. We run shit. You can participate in our system, but you're going to give up whatever, a sex tape or something. Like they're going to have you by the balls. Um, and so I think that in that situation, the only people that are going to say, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'll take that deal," are fucking little sociopaths. No reasonable person who cares about you is going to go, yes, I'm going to do something terrible. I'm going to let you have proof of it for my own selfish, greedy, power hungry desires. That's what a piece of shit does. So I actually literally don't. I think that mechanically you can't have that. I think Kennedy was the last legit president. I think Abraham Lincoln was too. And look what happened to both of them. Yeah. The system is really cumbersome. And that's what fucks up a lot of people. So many people get fucked over worse just because they didn't know how to play the game. And that's what was a huge advantage for me is I knew how to play the game and I knew how to figure it and I knew how to figure out what I didn't know as well, which is something that people don't know how to do. They don't know how to solve that problem. Yeah, dude, that's a good idea. Moms will mom. But I just lit this cigarette, so I'm gonna finish it first. Marxism, does necessitate an authoritarian regime. All political systems and economic systems are only about control. You have authority, individual. That's it. All the other noise around it is just distraction. But if you think about it on an axis of freedom to slavery, that's the whole thing. And that conceptually, that wraps it all up. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. Until people make it more complicated than that. Like socialism, for instance, which people claim is common ownership of the means of production, like everybody's an equal owner in this. Think about how that would work out. It wouldn't. I mean, I can't you can't pick out where to go to dinner. If you're in the car with your family, you say, "What do you want to eat?" You can't figure that out. So how the fuck is everybody gonna figure out how to run a business and be an equal owner in it? It's mechanically impossible. So you got Marxism, which is centralized control. You've got free markets, which is decentralized non-control, and anything else isn't something that's in the real world. That's not how humans operate. I am. And I don't know that. I mean, certainly the royal family does do that. I don't think that we over here are for the royal family so much as we are for the Rothschilds and central bankers of the world. But I mean, I think they're all tied together. The Rothschilds, the royal family, the Vatican, all these power structures are intertwined. They're not separate entities. They act like separate entities. They make a big show at the UN of going how much, of acting like they're negotiating about cutting carbon emissions and shit like that. Really, it's just a game. Everything else is just noise. People over confuse the topic. Oh shit, my computer's gonna die. All right, this is a good time to end the stream. Computer's dying. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Later.